Patriots. I believe we're in a moment, in a special moment in our nation, a time of urgency that demands a response from we the people.
Amen.
I think what we're witnessing is a deliberate attempt to try to transform this nation into something that is the antithesis of what the founding fathers originally intended. This nation was set to be a nation that expresses and allows for freedom, individual freedom. Somehow in our nation, we are attempting to fix what isn't broke. I understood if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. Why are we trying to transform this nation? Why are we trying to change it? Is beyond my understanding. But what we do know is this, is that in our nation, as those who are our political leaders have expressed and articulated to us, that they are attempting to fundamentally change us. We needed to ask the question, change and change for what? That's what we needed to ask. And what we have allowed is the fox into the chicken house, and he is in there not to make friends with chicken, but to make chicken salad. So we are facing an urgency in America and an attempt on the part of those who are leading us now to change us away from our Judeo-Christian heritage and the fundamental principles that made this nation great. And we have come to know them, those principles and the expression of the Judeo-Christian ethic, as American exceptionalism. American exceptionalism is inextricably linked to the founding principles and the Judeo-Christian ethic that undergirds who we are as a nation. To deny that is to do violence to our history as a nation. Right there, I get an amen if I was saying that's all right. American exceptionalism is expressed through those principles. The principles of liberty, the principles of constitutionalism, religious liberty. These ideas are ideas that were handed down to us by our founding fathers. And because we embraced them, applied them, and operated under them, America soared into becoming one of the greatest nations on the planet Earth. That's who we are. That's the legacy of who we are. And when we juxtapose who we are based upon what they want us to be, we see something that is entirely different from what the founding principles that made this nation great. Men and women, we are witnessing a deliberate assault on our First Amendment and Second Amendment rights. First Amendment is under assault through HHS mandate. It has targeted the Christian community and has placed us in the crosshairs and have encouraged our nation and our churches and our religious community to embrace an ideology that is against the consciousness of who we are as Christians. Amen. They're asking us to support contraception, not only contraception, but most of us have not said, and the media doesn't articulate it as they should, is contraception and sterilization. Exactly. Somebody needs to ask the question, why are they trying to sterilize our women? Right. Someone needs to ask that question. They want contraception and sterilization. Contraception and sterilization work hand in hand for what? Population control. Why are they trying to control the population? These are questions that we need to ask. Who do we ask? We need to ask. We need to ask ourselves. Okay. Starting with something, because the power in this nation does not reside with them, it resides with us. Yeah. With us, we the people. And I don't need to remind you of what Thomas Jefferson said. He says, we hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal and endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights. Among them, not just the three that I'm about to list, but among them are these three: life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. They are among them. And to secure these rights, governments are instituted, created by you and I, for the purpose of securing the rights. What rights? Those natural rights that come to us by God. Right. Amen. Thomas Jefferson, being wise as he said that if any government becomes destructive to that end, it is the right of the governed to do what? to alter or abolish it. Why did they say that? The Founding Fathers was fighting a tyrannical government. King George and Great Britain. And their effectiveness in resisting the tyranny of King George was directly proportional to their ability to arm themselves. And because they were able to arm themselves, they were able to throw off tyranny. And so the Founding Fathers, recognizing the value of armament and the necessity for armament against tyranny, crafted and wrote into our Constitution, the Second Amendment, that we have a right to arm ourselves, not for hunting, not for going shooting for bears and rabbits and foxes and hounds, none of that. They gave us a right to arm ourselves against a tyrannical government, a government who would move against the people. Absolutely. Now the question is, what they wrote and what they gave us then, is it applicable to us today in a 21st century context? May I point you to the 20th century, where over 170 million innocent people died at the hands of their government. And I know the media probably say, well, who were that? China, Mao Zedong, Joseph Stalin, Soviet Union, Pol Pot, Cambodia, Vietnam. At the beginning of the century, the Turkish government went in and disarmed all the Armenians and put into effect a genocidal program that destroyed over 1.5 million Armenians. Governments turning on their people. The only place where that did not happen is where the people were armed and they were able to hold off any tyranny or potential tyranny from their government. Men and women, when your government starts regulating your ability to own guns and causing you to have to register for them, history tells us these are the first step towards disarming the populace. And the moment they disarm us, we move in the direction of a tyrannical government who will rob us of our liberties, rob us of our independence, rob us of our ability to defend ourselves. These rights are God-given rights. They do not come from the government. Unless we find ourselves without the capacity to defend ourselves, because we were silent when the government stood up to try to regulate our ability to defend ourselves. I do not need to have permission from the government to defend my wife and my children from someone trying to assault them. I don't need the government's permission for that. That is my God-given right. And men and women, we're in a strange place in America today. The unfortunate thing is that what we are witnessing is an ideological clash. Two different worldviews. The worldview that is sourced in a secular humanistic idea is the most threatening thing that we've ever faced as Americans. And I know I'm going to get thrown under the bus for this, but I'll get under the bus. But all the ideologies that are being embraced by the cultural Marxists and the liberal elite in America are ideas that are sourced in an atheistic, godless frame. Socialism, communism, Marxism, secular humanism, and yes, Darwinism. All of them are atheistic, godless systems that in their mind, out of a Darwinistic frame, that believes in the survival of the fittest, and what else? Huh? The survival of the fittest and the right for the elite to rule. The elite, natural selection. Natural selection means that if I have better education and better training than you, then I have a right to tell you what you can and cannot do. There was a book that was written, and I'll stop. It was a book that was written by a philosopher named Francis Schaeffer, and he said this: what will happen in America when the Christian consensus is removed from the public square? He asked and answered that question. His answer was this: that an arbitrary elite will determine arbitrarily what is right and what is wrong. Men and women, that's precisely what is happening in America today. The Christian consensus has been dislodged from America, and a new idea is being embraced by this administration and by the government that we have elected to serve our interests. They do not believe in the Judeo-Christian frame any longer. We're facing a redefinition of life. We're redefinition of human value and worth. And the issues that are confronting us as Americans today, not only the Second Amendment, and I'm glad to see many of you are standing up for your Second Amendment rights, we must not allow them to take it away. If they take it away, we are done as a nation. We're done. We're done. There are 5 issues that you must engage. You must become involved in. Abortion, euthanasia, embryonic stem cell research, human cloning, and the redefinition of marriage or same-sex marriage. Men and women, that's what we're facing. And until America makes a decision on those issues, and I know some of the young people here say, well, you know, I don't want to deal with those social issues. Let me tell you, there's a nexus between the success of America and our economy based on those social issues. If we don't get it right there, the economy's going to hell in a handbasket. And we're already there, aren't we? Yeah. If we don't get it right in those 5 areas, plus the Second Amendment issues, men and women, we're in trouble. Let the lessons of the 20th century not fade into the oblivion of yesterday, but rather let us embrace the knowledge and wisdom and principles therefrom. 170 million innocent Americans were turned upon by their government to force them into their quote-unquote idea of a utopianistic reality or existence for mankind. If you don't believe in my idea of utopia, I'll kill you and get rid of you. That's what those governments did, starting with Joseph Stalin, Pol Pot, Mao Zedong, you name it. We need to learn from that. Let me tell you something. Don't look at the size of this audience to determine whether we got strength or not.
That's right.
I think it was Samuel Adams says it's not the size of the crowd that determines its success, but rather it is the determination of an irate few who are set on creating brush fires of freedom in the hearts of men.
Got it.
I think it was Vladimir Lenin who said it this way. He says, a organized minority will always beat a disorganized majority. We need to organize. We need to organize. And we'll win this fight.
Yes, sir.
All right. Yeah. All right.